Hello everyone, this is our new video and this is a recap of the round number 10, and today with me, special occasion, we record together video with my friend FIDE Master Vladimir Chernikov.
Ciao, finally it takes two.
Yeah, and this time Vladimir picked the game. I'm not very I don't know, fan of this game, but let's see. And this is a game of Praggnanandhaa versus Fedoseev. Fedoseev, who was on top, and I mean had really good victories. As I remember, he won against Caruana, didn't he?
Yes, and also I managed that I didn't agree much with you that I thought you just like to put here games of Indian players every time. So I think you would like to see Praggnanandhaa
I,
over here.
I suggested Abdusattorov, but yeah, he's not on
Okay.
hype in Vladimir's opinion. But yeah, and Praggnanandhaa, who yesterday was roughly beaten against Anish Giri, and this was a pretty cool game. But well, I mean, when I was recording videos, they were still playing. And let's probably begin here and now. The game started with d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, c5. What can you tell us, Vladimir, about such interesting opening?
It's a Tarash system, a very memorable opening, isn't it?
I don't know. It's like I don't like it, so maybe for you it's memorable.
Okay, it's a very nostalgic opening. Great players like Garry Kasparov, Anatoly Karpov, Vladimir Chernikov, they all played this opening at some time of their career.
Yeah,
So
but like first two, I would doubt, but the third one, yeah, that's a legend,
thank you.
true chess player. Okay, so CDD, why I don't like this opening, because apparently the pawn on d5 will be isolated at some stage. Black tried to rely on dynamics, or to be honest, Black tried to rely on engine analysis, like Dubov, who plays these lines and knows some variations until move number 40, where you tempo in tempo make a draw without a pawn. But right here, knight f3, knight f6, what are main continuations? Because right here, Pragg played the bishop g5, trying to pin it. Do you know any other ideas? What are like classical
G3.
deviations here?
G3 is a very old line, like G3, Bishop E7, Bishop G2, Knight
Yeah.
C6, Castle, and
And
whatnot.
usually, yeah, white tries to create a pressure against this pawn, try to make it isolated, play bishop g5, black somewhere tries to play c4. But right here, one of the main lines, which is bishop g5, and right here, bishop e6 was played. That's the main move. Idea is to reinforce the center, not to play bishop e7 too early, because otherwise, let's say if we play bishop e7, DC this bishop would have to play twice, and he's like an old man, you don't want to like, move twice just not to break your legs. And yeah, there is a pin, so bishop e6, waiting, useful move. In the game, e3, oh, nobody saw anything. In the game, e3 was played, and I hope I will start pressing buttons correctly and my fingers will obey me. And in the game, c4 was played. First of all, trying to block the bishop. Secondly, trying to create some sort of protected pass pawn so that other pawns could protect it. But yeah, that's basically the plan. Are there any downfalls in the position? How do you think, Vladimir?
Okay, obviously, since the tension center is released, white can pressure more a bit in the center. Also, it's a bit too early to close this. Usually, people do it a little bit later, but we'll see that Fedoseev had very original look at this position.
Yeah, because normally, like after g3 bishop here, there
Yeah,
would
I
be the
mean,
pressure
D5.
against the pawn. In some London systems, c4 move is normally terrible because there is e4 idea breaking the center. Right here, it's not that vital because, I mean, we don't really ruin the structure, but rather create an isolated pawn. But right here, Pragg played bishop of 6, which is not the main move, but one off. And right here, like probably 99.9% of players would play queen of 6. And I believe they would be right, because it's an adequate move. Idea is that later we can try to play bishop before to create the spin, and white probably need to play a3, g3, and that will be casual routine.
Okay.
But Vladimir
I saw also,
Fedoseev,
to add, I saw some weird line with queen a4 check after queen f6, but it looks like it leads nowhere, like queen f6, queen a4, and the idea that, okay, bd7, queen a5, for instance. And
you mean
yeah,
97?
if knight d7, idea is b3, cb,
Okay.
knight e5. But knight c6 is a good move, and
Yeah,
after knight c6,
96
I saw
is.
some bishop c4 idea, but it doesn't seem to be very
Yeah,
sharp
I
to
mean,
like
it's
pawn takes
challenging,
d5.
and maybe Fedoseev wasn't sure completely, but I mean, when you play such responsible opening as Tarash, and when opponent against you goes like to the main line, not knowing it is like very, very weird. Maybe Fedoseev was expecting kinda Catalan that Pragg played during this tournament, and he constantly plays it. Don't know, but he played GF. I don't know. It's like that's beyond my understanding. Probably that's why I'm not 27-17 in terms of chess rating. I mean, do you have any explanations?
No, I just like how to waste 15 minutes wrongly. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
You
that's
always
like,
ask these tricky questions to me.
yeah. Okay, that's like coach of Caruana once said. If I see that, it's like Chuchelov, if I remember correctly. He said like, if I see that Caruana spends more than 20 minutes on the move, I know that he will play the worst move possible. So right here, in this simple situation, it works the similar way. Maybe he was doubting this like Bishop C4 line or something like that, and he played it out of desperation. And it's possible to say that we kinda in our wet dreams can try to develop our pieces somehow like this, put the knight on e4 and hope for something, but like all of this just, I mean, breaks after g3. All the hopes just broken. What does Fedoseev want to say by this move? I don't know. Pragg plays g3, obviously, bishop before bishop g2, knight e6, castle, castle. All of these are logical moves, and right here, young Indian grandmaster decides to go knight e2 with a simple plan of going knight f4. Are there any maybe better options? How do you think? Would you go for this line?
Yes, for sure. Me and some of my students that are like around 2000 less ratings than Praggnanandhaa probably will play knight h4. I mean, the idea is very simple. What is the target? Pawn on d5. So we bring queen h5. It's active piece for the queen. It attacks the pawn from the square as well. And then if you want knight on f4, you can do it later because probably black will not want to take on c3 because otherwise it's looks a bit just strange.
Yeah, because like I don't know, knight h4 in the blitz, many players would play it. Although knight e2 also makes sense, but this looks too tempting to not to play it. But yeah, Pragg
Because
managed to
okay,
handle this.
surprisingly, I mean, 92 is okay, right? But then I noticed that yeah, it was ideas, and after it, he played knight h4. We'll see. So he spotted the idea, but he still
Yeah,
decided to play 92 first.
right now queen
Bit
is
weird.
like queen is yeah blocked, so not so much sense. Okay, a3 was played, bishop goes to e7, trying later to kick away this guy from h4 because he's been very annoying. And right here, probably many of you would, I mean, play knight f4 to continue the plan, trying to say that we create the pressure, we attack the bishop, but then after f5, apparently it's very hard to play, and we kinda approach to the position when everything is not that bad for Fedoseev. He has some con to play on the queen side. This knight is targeted, so it has to go back. Take it on e6 is nonsense, because it just reinforces the structure and removes all the problems. So e4 was played. Did you expect this move, Vladimir? And can you explain to our viewers why
Okay,
was it
yeah.
played?
From Simon that sharp as Praggnanandhaa, I obviously expected e4. First of all, it's good move because it stops f5. First of all, right? And second, he sees that it's the best way to improve to create initiative finally, because he realized just that it's not enough strength to push against d5 pawn. Simply, it's not enough. So he decides to find something else.
Yeah, so he tries to hit the center, he prevents a 5, and later the pawn can be very dangerous. There can be some weird forks and stuff like this. And for example, d was the best move, although it's not obvious. And right here, it looks like d5 is a threat, and bishop d5, let's say, can be a good response, but is there anything wrong with this idea?
Yeah, so positionally, if you'll just look positionally, black will be doing more or less fine. But talking concrete, I mean, bishop b1, and after it, queen goes to c2, knight goes to c3 somewhere with d5 ideas later. Other knight jumps to f5, and white's pressuring too much.
Yeah, the better move right here was bishop g4, trying to pressure himself, because when you have strategically worse position, and with such structure we obviously have it, you want to create pressure, you want to mess up the position, you want to look for chaos, and this move creates pressure. Already playing here would be too much, because, I mean, this is targeted. And yeah, that was the best way. In the game, rook g8 happened, while plays rook e1, centralizing rooks. Bishop f8, queen c2, and right now b5 was played, exactly following this logic. Everything is bad, black needs to look for a counterplay, play b4, maybe ideally somehow this knight will become very, very strong. But right here, white doesn't care. White plays rook d1, trying and prepares a blow in the center so that the pawn could go to d5. And right here, knight e7 was played. Fedoseev saying, okay, you cannot break me so easily, I will support everything, plus I have a5 before plan still. So, how to continue? How did Pragg play? Why was it so good move? And what are candidates here?
So taking on d5, it's no way for now. At least white is still not ready, so he needs to increment the pressure. And two moves that apparently do it. It's knight f4 or knight to c3, right? Both of them hitting d5 pawn. Basically, it's the same, but okay, knight c3 is much better because if you go to f4, you're only doing one thing. You're attacking d5 because you never want to take this bishop on e6 because it will just help black to improve his pawn structure. To take fe, to take control of f5 square. So that's why knight c3 is a bit better because also it hits the b5 pawn. Black can't lose it because it's only counterplays that black has in this position. So he needs to defend it. So knight c3 wins a tempo, and in dynamic positions, that's what you should do. Usually.
Yeah, knight 3 great move because it creates a double threat. a6 and also sure, queen d7 looks a bit better, just, I mean, because you anyway want to play 5, so why not to defend the pawn with another piece. Then ed, knight d5, bishop goes to e4, and the idea is that we're pressuring this pawn, we're pressuring this knight still, we have a lot of tricks and stuff like this. And in this game, knight f4 was played. The knight is invincible for now because there is a pin. What do you think about this move, Vladimir?
Bad move, honestly, because we'll see it later. Why? It's not like that like horrible, but first of all, it makes no sense at first because knight on f4, okay, it stays active, but for a few moves, we'll see that it will not last too much.
Yeah,
There
it
is
has
try to
some
jump.
has
Yeah,
some
the
good
squares.
squares, but yeah, like from h3 you cannot really create more pressure because there are not so many pieces who are ready to support it.
Exactly, and then was better to take on c3 just, and we'll see later why. Because Fedoseev didn't do what Pragg did, winning a tempos, because here after bc, let's say rook g5, moves that was played in the game, or queen d7 first, doesn't matter. Bishop takes h7, queen d7, trying to play 5 and trap the bishop. Bishop has to go back, let's say bishop e4. And the difference now is that a3 pawn is hanging, right? Because you provoked bc, so now bishop a3. You recover a pawn and your king is more or less safe. Rook can come to g8 and you have 3 versus 1, basically in the queen side, so it's fine for black.
Yeah, true. Better was to take because knight f4 looks like a waste of tempo and probably Fedoseev regretted it later. And yeah, he drops the pawn, he relies on activity, but right now nobody is hanging and this counterplay kind of non-existent. In the game king h1 was played, right now knight is targeted, black plays rook h5, trying to counterattack the knight and provoking Pragg to ruin the structure, and here bishop f3 happened, after which Fedoseev answered rook h6, he had some time to think, were there any better options and why is it so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, bishop g4 looks very strong here because, again, you don't waste tempo, you don't go rook back. And also, if you trade light square bishop, obviously, I mean, queen e4 will be a move probably. But if you take this, then yeah, rook h4 is a threat, f3 weak, g2 weak, all these squares are weak. Maybe queen e4, that's what he didn't like. But once again, bishop d6, you defend the knight, you bring maybe rook to g8 if it's needed at some point.
Yeah, and if takes, then still take. So we
Sure.
kinda maintain the pressure, and it's not so easy to play for Pragg. Instead, after rook h6, he kinda unties hand, because like it's very simple to play. Although Pragg really like running low on time, as we can see, he already down to 5 minutes. He played d5, bishop h3, bishop e4 was played. Why not? I mean, fine move. And right here, knight e2 was played, trying to trade this knight who wasn't really great because he was surrounded. Way better was to play, let's say, rook g1, because this knight is a target, why do we get rid of it? But as we can see, Pragg really low on time, so he tries to simplify the position, so pretty sensible decision when you so much low on time. We're just saying that, yeah, this knight was pretty clearly a target. Knight e2 was played, queen e2, rook goes to e5, creating a pin and trying to find this counterplay. f4 was played, and this is a critical and the last moment. After bishop g4, engine actually recommends dropping the queen like that and having a lot of compensation, followed by many threats. So what I'm saying is that take, and we have like the central pawns, we have bishop f5 threat with a double attack. And in the game, queen f1 was played, and this was the moment of the truth, who, I mean, will Fedoseev survive? Will he have chances or he will just lose? What was the best move and what happened in the game?
I saw that this move Fedoseev would find it, but it didn't happen. So he took on e4, or he didn't take on e4, he played rook h5, but he could take on e4 with the rook. Just simple tactics, right? I mean, let's see the position array, rook takes, bishop takes, and queen takes. So the position is not easy to evaluate, but here still I think king g8 is very precise move. Actually, if it's not played also, it's not exempt of the war, but king g8 is very good move, because if now queen h5, let's say, then after queen h3, it's already white who is playing for a draw, rook e1, c3, let's say. And
Yeah.
yeah, suddenly it's too
And
much pressure.
the point of this position is that, like, after all these trades, we're threatening just to play c3 and create all the weaknesses, what Fedoseev did later in the game. But right here, I mean, it's in a way better scenario, in a way more favorable way for him. Instead, what happened in the game, he played rook h5, and then after bishop f3, Pragg just tries to dry the game because he's up opponent. That's what you need to do when you up material, to trade pieces. Queen g4, and right here he plays a very cold move, queen e2, offering a queen trade, and after it, Fedoseev is cooked, and although Pragg played this move with 3 seconds on the clock, still his technique is good enough to win it, position is just too simple. And the game continued, queen e2, rook e2, bishop d6, check, rook d8, and right now Pragg just trying to do everything to promote his super pawn. Right now it's just unstoppable, and right now already it's beyond 40's move, but after rook c8, rook h2, king g1, the king is not mated and the pawn is unstoppable, because taken right now we cannot, the king like is not in danger, black ran out of checks, rook a3 was played, d1, d8 queen, and then, yeah, I mean, it's not even funny. And the game was over right here. So good win for Pragg. Didn't understand what was it from the Fedoseev part, because he was playing tournament pretty well, but right now he's kind of going downhill. Not very good. I hope he will find his game in next, rounds, in next
Yeah, like Pragg
matches.
did, because Pragg recovered after the loss of
Yeah,
just
and
the
it was
games.
like, I mean, honestly speaking, Pragg didn't do a lot of front stuff
Yeah,
because, I mean, just Giri played exceptional game. Finally, after the first round with Gukesh, where he got the pity loss in completely winning position. So this is it for today. Did you like this game? Maybe you found some other games more exciting. Who do you think will win? Because it's a very tight matchup, like Abdusattorov trying to catch Gukesh. Who will be the first one? Leave it in the comments. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned in for next episodes. Bye.
ciao.